Then came the flying monkeys. My aunt called, disappointed in my behavior. My uncle texted saying I needed to man up and be the bigger person. Even my cousin Sarah, who was the one that spilled the tea about Stacy's lies, messaged me saying maybe I was taking things too far. But you know what? None of them offered to help pay Stacy's tuition themselves. The best part? Stacy actually went and told Craig what was going on. I guess she thought he'd offer to help with the tuition. Spoiler alert, he didn't. According to Sarah, who's still keeping me updated, Craig got real quiet when Stacy started explaining. He asked things like, why didn't Stacy ever mention she had a brother? And why didn't she introduce them? He couldn't understand why Stacy would keep her brother's existence a secret just because he was a plumber. Turns out, Craig's uncle, the one who built their family home, started as a plumber before becoming a contractor. Craig had actually worked summers with him in high school. So yeah, the whole plumber equals embarrassment thing wasn't sitting well with Craig. When Stacy tried to explain herself, she just dug herself deeper. She started rambling about professional appearances and social circles, and Craig got more and more upset. He couldn't believe she would hide and disrespect her own brother, the one who'd been supporting her education, just for some perceived social status. Craig told her the next day that he needed time to think about their relationship. He said her actions revealed a side of her personality he didn't like. Who knew he had principles? Meanwhile, my parents were blowing up my phone 24/7. Mom alternated between crying and begging, and Dad between cursing and threatening. Stacy kept calling from other numbers after I blocked hers. At that point, I just turned off my phone for a few days. It was all the same, how I was ruining everything by not just shutting up and paying like a good little ATM. But I was done being their ATM. If standing up for myself made me the bad guy in their eyes, then so be it. It was better than being their doormat. A few days later, Craig showed up at Stacy's apartment. She probably thought he was there to make up. But no, he broke up with her. He told her he couldn't be with someone who would treat their own brother that way, especially someone who had supported them so much. He said it made him question her values and who she truly was. Stacy lost it. She contacted me, crying and shouting from yet another new number. At this point, she had more burner phones than a drug dealer. She said I'd wrecked everything. That Craig broke up with her because of me. That her life was falling apart and it was all my fault. I laughed and replied, no, sis. Craig ended his relationship with you after discovering your true identity. I just stopped helping you hide it. She threatened to tell everyone that I had sexually assaulted her in high school, that she would report my business to the Better Business Bureau for fraud, and that everyone would know what a terrible brother I was. Go ahead, I told her. Tell everyone your brother is a monster because he checks notes, paid for your education while you tried to conceal his existence. See how that works out for you. Then she went back to begging, crying about how she couldn't afford law school without me, how she'd have to drop out, how she'd lose all of her friends, and how her life would end. Guess you should have thought about that before you decided I was too embarrassing to acknowledge, I responded. Then I disconnected. After Craig dumped her, Stacy had a complete mental breakdown. According to Sarah, she started showing up at our parents' house at random hours, crying about how her life had ended. She had apparently told all her law school friends that her boyfriend was going to help her with tuition, so when he dumped her, she was completely screwed. The deadline for the tuition payment was fast approaching, and she still hadn't figured out what to do. She tried applying for emergency loans, but guess what? Those take time to process, and she left it way too late. Plus, she'd need a cosigner, and our parents' credit is a mess. I wonder why they keep trying to live beyond their means. Sarah texted me, 911, Stacy just posted on Facebook that she's heading to your shop to make you face what you're doing to her. She appears unstable. I barely had time to warn my guys before she blasted through the door like a tornado in designer clothes, hair all messy, mascara running, full crazy ex-girlfriend energy, except she was my sister. How could you do this to me? She screamed in front of my entire staff and about 3 customers. I'm your sister. You're meant to look after me. I attempted to encourage her to go outside, or at least lower her voice, but she seemed determined to cause a scene. "You are ruining my life," she screamed. "All because your delicate feelings were harmed. You are so selfish." One of my clients, a sweet old lady who had been with us for years, stood up. "Young lady," she asked, "is this the brother who has been paying for your education?" Stacy turned around like she'd been smacked. "That's none of your business," she snapped. "Well," the elderly lady added, "you just made it everyone's business by storming in here shouting. And based on what I've heard, you excluded your brother from Christmas because you were ashamed of his profession. But you still expect him to pay for your education. That's known as biting the hand that feeds you." In my hometown, that kind of bluntness is rare, and Stacy genuinely didn't know how to handle someone calling her out on her BS who wasn't family. But she recovered fast and shifted into full-blown theatrical sobbing. "You don't understand," she cried. "He is doing this to punish me. He's attempting to harm my future because he's envious of my achievements."